Hi and welcome to this week's Life Lessons video. It's great to be back with you all. This week we're talking all about money and abundance. Are you self-sabotaging your own financial success? Maybe you really want to welcome the flow of money into your life, but you strongly suspect something in your mindset is blocking this. Well, in this video, we're going to be discussing the Wu Wei wisdom perspective on money, energy flow, and the law of attraction. The most common money mindset blocks that our clients come to us with for help. And we'll be sharing advice on how you can spot when your inner child is involved in hampering your financial success, and most importantly, how you can release any old limiting beliefs and excuses around money so you can welcome abundance into your life. Welcome to our Wu Wei Wisdom Life Lessons series. In each episode, we answer your questions, reveal the powerful life lesson, and offer you lots of practical tips and advice to help you live in balance, harmony, and flow. So David, we work with a lot of clients on their money mindset. So it can be clients who are really struggling financially and want support and advice, or clients who are actually quite financially successful entrepreneurs, but have almost reached a ceiling with where they're going in terms of their finances or success. So we get asked questions on money, mindset, and abundance all the time. So to begin with, I want to discuss the Wu Wei wisdom perspective on money, energy flow, and the law of attraction, because that's quite different or quite a radical paradigm shift from a lot of teachings.
Well, you kind of said it there, that money is an energy, and I see it as an energy. And rather than seeing it as pound notes or coins, see it as a flow of energy. And what are you doing or not doing? And perhaps we'll talk about what you're not doing first, and at the end we'll finish off and say what you can be doing. What are you doing to attract that energy flow that we're calling money into your life? Or what are you doing to resist that energy flow? In my experience, when I'm working with clients, they have so many reasons why they haven't got money. They will tell you everything. Number one, I don't deserve it.
Okay.
I am not deserving. Number two, we've never had money in our family. I don't know how to handle money. How do you get money? What do you do with money? How do you invest money? How do you do this? How do you do that? So there's a lot of self-doubt. And then number three, what I think is the most powerful is what we call CCJ. Comparing, criticizing, being judgmental. Comparing yourself with someone else. Oh, look at their house. They're much bigger than mine. We'll never get the house. Look at their car. Look at them. Look how they dress. Look at this. And when you do that, imagine what you're doing with your energy. You're kind of sending the energy to them instead of bringing it onto you.
Yeah.
Criticizing yourself. I'll never do that. I tried my best. I tried and failed. It's not worth trying again. I might as well give up. Oh, being judgmental. It's not for me. It's not for me. I don't come from that type of a background.
Yeah.
And these are the normal things. And it is like a roadblock. It's like getting through that roadblock because they've been saying it for so long. Some of my clients don't even realize they're saying it until I pick it out. And I get my clients to tape the session. And sometimes the clients have said, I can't believe that was me speaking. When I listened back, I can't believe I was so negative about myself and about attracting money.
Because I think the people who come to us are, by and large,
awesome. People who come to us are awesome.
But the clients who come to us, they are taking action. They are working really, really hard at their business, at their kind of financial success. They on kind of paper, they're doing all the right things. They are putting in the effort. But the self-talk, which is fueled by the core beliefs, which are beneath the self-talk, which is often the inner child talking, which we'll talk about, is quietly or very loudly saying to them, you know, almost like their secret that they don't want to tell anyone. It's like they're hiding this dirty little secret that, although they're saying to the outside world, I want abundance, I want financial success, I'm working really hard for this, I'm doing all the right things, they're also in their self-talk saying to themselves, as you said, I don't deserve this. Or my family never had money, so why should I have money? Or money's the root of all evil. We get taught this a lot.
Or people will be jealous of me.
People will be jealous of me, or they won't love me. People won't want to be friends with me. They'll think I'm a show-off.
Exactly. What do I do? And so it is like a little parrot sitting on your shoulder. And what I call it is a glass ceiling. It puts you into a glass ceiling. And so to everybody, you may look really successful and dress well and ride a good car, but inside you've got this really deep doubt about, is it all going to be taken away from me? It's no good making it in case I lose it. And so many of my clients will say that it's no good doing this, David, because I'm bound to fail. And if I build up this pot of money, if I build up this successful business, if I start to trade, the number one things, I'm jumping ahead now, but the number one things which we'll talk about at the end is do something that you are passionate about. Do something that you really love, because that brings a law of attraction. And then they say, oh, yes, but people won't like it. And it's not, well, my parents always worked for somebody. I was always in a factory and we was always short of money as a child. And then they stop themselves. They stop their own flow. They stop the attraction of energy.
And I guess, I mean, I will put a link. We've done a very long form video on the law of attraction and energy flow, which is very much relevant to this video, but also covers all aspects of your life. So relationships, career, health. I'll put a link above to that. But this self-talk, these small secret seeds of self-doubt that are within our belief system, there's the tension between the high-level goals and aspirations and dreams and the actions we're taking and the self-talk, and it creates this pulling apart, this tension. But as you always say, for the law of attraction, what emits the stronger vibration is anything attached to your core beliefs.
But also that core belief is what you're saying to yourself. So remember, be mindful of your self-talk. It's a conversation with the universe. So when you say, well, nobody else is listening to this doubt that I'm saying, the universe is listening. So you are setting up your law of attraction. As Alex just described, if you say one thing and doing something else, I think we sometimes hear people saying walking the walk and talking the talk. So you saying one thing, oh yes, I really want to be successful, I really want to do this, and then the other part of you is saying, oh yes, but it'll all fall apart, it won't work. You're creating this contradiction. And then what are you attracting? You're attracting more contradiction. You're attracting confusion,
difficulties, stagnations, everything becomes harder rather than it flowing, rather than you being open, sending out a crystal clear vibration whereby your beliefs, your thoughts, your self-talk and your actions are all laser aligned. They're all a rock solid arrow pointing in one direction.
And the Chinese call that yi, intention. The way you think, the way you create feelings, the way you live, the way you eat, the way you dress, the way you go to sleep, the way you wake up is all pointing in the right direction, as Alex says. I called it once getting all your ducks aligned. You have to get if one duck is pointing in the other way, then the energy gets confused. You want the energy sucking right into you. Absolutely. And this is the main thing. I can tell you that no one else can do this for you. This is what you must do. You must sit quietly in a meditation. We've done several meditations. You can get them. They're free. You can get them.
I will put links in the video description below to all our guided meditations.
And make sure what you're saying outwardly, you're saying inwardly. There's no contradiction. And if there is a contradiction, that's what you have to do the work on. That's what we call the golden thread. Why? And as Alex said at the introduction, it will nearly always go back to childhood. It will nearly always go back to mirroring an adult who's saying, oh, we just grow up and we work in a factory, or we're grateful for the money, or we don't deserve money. They're saying something. They build this almost like this image around you that it is so familiar and therefore safer to fall into that way of believing that you don't actually deserve it. It'll be taken away from you. Somebody won't like it. That someone will be... Here's one I heard just last week. Well, if I ever made money, my family would be so jealous because they haven't got money. How could I go and see my family in a nice car when they haven't got money? And so you see, in that instance, that person was setting up a resistance. The ducks was all misaligned.
So if as a child, when we're being brought up in a household or with family around us where there is scarcity and almost like a fear or a tension around money, where talking about money is always talked about negatively rather than positively and creatively and productively, if parents or our carers are very dismissive about money and say it's negative, root of all evil, all these sorts of things, then as that child as us, then we absorb all those beliefs like a sponge, and then we carry them into adulthood and we don't question them. This is why it kind of operates, the beliefs we carry from our childhood about money, success, abundance, and why it's rightfully ours in as much as it's rightfully anyone else's. We carry that and it operates subconsciously, doesn't it?
That's right. There's two things there. The one thing that you was talking about, your childhood environment and what you learn, one thing you missed out on, if you hear your family talking negatively about people with money,
that's true.
That has a big effect on you. Oh, look at them. Oh, they're show-offs. Oh, they're always, and that has a big effect on you. And then exactly as you said, that then seeps into your person, and if you don't challenge it, and this is what the Wu Wei wisdom is all about, this is what our Facebook is all about, is the golden thread is why. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? How many times do I say that in these videos? What do you believe? Why do you believe it? And this is what you can do for yourself. You don't need a guru to tell you. You sit quietly and you ask yourself, if it's about the energy of money, same thing as whatever energy is. What do I believe about this? What do I believe I'm entitled to? What do I believe that how I should use money and how money is in my life and what do I believe that's stopping that flow in? And just do that to yourself. I can tell you what Alex says is so powerful. Even now, I was brought up with my grandparents. And I can remember my granddad brought his wages home in a bag, in a brown
envelope,
and give it to my nan. And she used to have tins. How many of you remember this? She used to have a tin for the gas, tin for the electric, tin for the coal, tin for the food. And she'd put the money in the tin. And I can remember that like it was yesterday. And that's why, is even now, I really like spreadsheets and planning because I like to budget. She used to love to budget, and she'd budget and put holiday funds and this clothes funds. And even that's gone into me now. I don't think it was a bad thing.
So I was going to say, because is that example, that kind of shows taking a family member, someone who you looked up to, taking self-responsibility for money, not kind of, not opening the bills, not kind of burying their head in the sand when it came to money, or always getting them into a kind of boom and bust situation with money. That actually, I guess, was a positive role model because everything was kind of planned out nicely.
I think it was, but I still questioned it.
Why?
It. Well, I thought it was a bit too restrictive because she was never
overly planned.
It was a bit too overly planned. She was never thinking. It was almost like at the end of the Friday night, she'd be left with with, and it was like nothing left with.
There was no wriggle room for...
There was nothing. So I think she went a bit too far. But I can tell you that that's still in me, that idea of planning and budgeting. So here's what a client said to me a couple of weeks ago. That they remember when they were a child, I think it was like the bailiffs or the rent man or the coming around, and they used to have to hide. They'd knock the door or ring the bell, and they used to have to hide. And now they're so frightened of when a bill comes in because of that incident. Now, you see, we talk about this energy. So you think about that person when a bill lands on their mat and they get this red light feeling that they call fear. It goes right back to their childhood.
And that's like, it's like that Pavlov dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's you associate negativity, problems, difficulties with anything to do with money and because for the reasons of experienced in your childhood. But when you're an adult, it's almost like you get the immediate reaction, anything to do with money, bills, finance, success, abundance.
Yeah. Especially if you're sensitive.
Yeah.
So if you're sensitive and you haven't done the golden thread and you haven't sorted this out, if this applies to you, but we're talking about money, but remember we're talking about any energy because money is just an energy. So if this applies to you, you've got to sit quietly, do the golden thread, start at the red light, start at the fear, like that lady when the bill dropped on the bill dropped on the mat. She told me, I get this overwhelming surge. It's like a tsunami, she said. It just comes right up and even my face gets red. And I said to her, okay, we'll do the golden thread. So why? It took about 4 whys until she said, oh my goodness, I remember now. We used to have to hide. My mum used to say, oh, the bailiffs are knocking the door. Hide, don't let them answer the door. And that used to strike me with fear. And 30 or 40 years later, the bill landing on a mat does exactly the same thing. And as you said, it's like the Pavlov dog. You've just got that energetic connection. And that's what we've got to stop. It's different for everyone. Everyone listening to this will have a different trigger, some people like to call it. The golden thread that we've demonstrated in many videos will help you find and understand. Remember, you can't change what you don't understand. You've got to understand how your mind works. You've got to understand the flow of chi energy through your life and through your body. And once you've got that, then here's the magic. You're in control.
Yeah.
No one else.
Yeah.
The money's not controlling you. You're controlling the money, and you've done what we call the flip. You've turned it over, and you become in control, and that's what we want for you. You are awesome. Be in control of your life, every part of your life. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? Take responsibility for those beliefs. We understand they may have come from other people, but right now, you're believing them.
Yeah, and I think, David, one thing to say, which is, it's interesting in a way that the example you gave of the lady with the bill on the doormat, experiencing very uncomfortable, painful red light feelings in association with money and the childhood episodes, it doesn't have to be as obvious or as extreme as that to mean that you're being limited by an unhealthy belief. For example, it's almost like your belief may be that you're allowed to succeed or earn a certain amount of money up to a certain level, but beyond that point, it's then unacceptable, or you're then not worthy of it, or it's then unattractive, or it's then going to become a problem. It's almost like, again, and that will go back to childhood teachings that you may have got off your parents saying, this level of wealth and this level of being middle class or whatever to a certain point is okay. But beyond that, being ostentatious, too flashy, having, this type of car is okay, but that type of more expensive flashy car is not okay. So our parents can almost set these artificial standards of what is an okay amount of money and what's not okay. And they can be a little bit more finely tuned, a little bit more hard to pick out.
So I'll give you another example now, because I work with my clients every day. So here's another example. Asking for more money, or when it's your review of your yearly review. Just doing that with a lady a couple of months ago. She was terrified to go in for the yearly review when they assess her and the talks about money. She told me that last time, the year previously, they offered her a rise and she said to them, "Are you sure? Are you sure that I deserve that?" Imagine you're the boss and you're offering somebody a rise and they're questioning the rise.
Well, that's,
and that's
complete self-sabotage, isn't it?
It's crazy. I said, you should have been saying, "Is that all?
Yeah.
I earn more than that for you."
But if
she said, "I could never do that."
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, she's presumably in a successful career already. But, she wants to earn more money, and yet she's allowing her beliefs, a kind of a seed of an old belief, to come up through what she says and question her worthiness of earning extra.
Absolutely.
And would you?
And for that particular lady, it was her worthiness. She didn't value herself, so she was amazed that someone else could value her if she's not valuing her, because she was doing the job and she was always full of self-doubt and picking faults and finding the mistakes that she made that nobody else found, but she could list the mistakes that she made, and she was amazed that her boss was even offering her a rise. And I couldn't believe it. She questioned the rise. I've never heard that. I said, "You questioned the rise?" She says, "Yes." I said to the boss, "Are you sure?" I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, and I think, another common excuse we hear, and I think this is quite prevalent with therapists in particular, because obviously we know a lot of different therapists and coaches, that the excuse they often say is, I just want to help people. I don't care about what money I get back in return. I'm just happy to give to people. But they undersell themselves. They don't value their own self-worth. They don't value their need to be financially stable, to have enough money to go on holiday, it's almost like they layer over, almost like, of course they want to help people, but that does not mean that they're not worthy of earning decent money or getting money back for their services.
But talking about that, but don't you believe that if you're helping somebody, there has to be an exchange?
Yeah.
This is why I would stop thinking about it, as I said at the beginning, I would stop thinking about it as money, as pound and dollars and cents and coins. I would think about it more as an energy. That's how I think about it now. This is an energy. So when I'm working with a client, it's an energy exchange. I will give as much as I possibly can. And it's an energy flow exchange. And if they're committed, if they're into this, we get this done quickly because the energy flow is flowing between us and we're working together in balance. And so this is the law of attraction again. So if you're a therapist and you're working with somebody and you don't value yourself, how can they value you? The energy is corrupted.
And that will come across it will just come across in your vibration, won't it?
Absolutely.
This self-doubt.
Absolutely.
And really, I guess that's at the core of what we're talking about here. If money is an energy, it's just, this money block issue is just one expression of a core self-doubt within you.
It's the same thing.
The lies we talk about, I'm not good enough.
Yes.
I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this money. I don't deserve success. I don't deserve abundance. Or I can't cope. I can't manage. I'm not going to be able to cope with this money.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to cope with this success. I'm not going to be able to cope with this abundance. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And so that is buried right at the root.
Or I'm unworthy, or I'm unlovable.
I'm unlovable.
The third one.
So I'm unlovable.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Yeah.
how on earth do I deserve this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm also unlovable, and it would be harder for someone to love me or to care for me or to make me worthy if I'm financially more higher up, more superior to them. That would be more difficult. So what they run all of these doubts, and remember, these doubts are like scattering seeds all in your mind, and they clog up your mind and they create confusion, and then that confusion confuses the law of attraction. So instead of living and flowing in this energy form of money, of energy of money, you're not. You're like a cork bobbing around, being pulled in different directions. And this is why it's so important to be absolutely firm and do this work for yourself. What is this energy? If you want to call it money, how do I attract it into my life? Do I deserve it? What is stopping me? What are those little words that's going on, those little phrases, those statements I say to myself, those self-doubts? What's going on? Don't ignore it. Don't go, oh, it's not important. It really is important. This can change your life. You can change your life.
So, David, just to work this through with a practical example, We've highlighted a lot of kind of money block excuses there in the past 10 minutes, but just to pick one off, if we hear ourselves saying in our self-talk quietly to ourselves, I don't deserve this, or this is going to be a problem, how do we, and we suspect that's our inner child talking, so the adult part of us really wants to succeed, really wants to have this success. The inner child's saying, I don't deserve this. This is going to be a problem. How do I work with my inner child? Now, what do I say to my inner child?
So we start with the golden thread.
Yeah.
So right away, it's the why question. I would always, as I say in all of the videos, when you're speaking to that part of your mind that we are giving a label of the inner child, the one that's resisting, remember, it's not a monster, it's not evil, it's not a demon. It's
not to get your sabotage your life, really.
It's actually you as a little child of about 8 years old, and she or he is scared and wants to be protected and wants things safe. They doesn't want to take any risks, doesn't want to stress themselves, worried about, could think of millions of things that could go wrong, and so rather stay where they are. So when, as Alex says, it starts and giving you that little niggling thing, that's the opportunity for you. You should be so elated. You should be so pleased. So to answer Alex's question, I would always call it a little pet name like darling or sweetheart or son. So I say, okay, darling, so why? Why are you worried about money? What is it about money that worries you?
Well, I guess role-playing this, if I'm thinking I don't deserve this.
And then I would stop.
Okay.
Remember what we said? Keep the answers very short.
Okay.
Don't let the child dump on you. The child wants to dump on you and get you confused. And I think you said, I don't deserve it. So I would stop there and go, okay, darling, why don't you deserve it?
So I don't deserve it because I don't actually think I'm good enough.
Okay, stop. No, that's all we need to hear again. Why don't you think you're good enough? Can you see what I'm doing?
Because
if you don't do that work, the child then puts you onto the carousel.
Okay.
And then you stop. Nice short answers.
So the first thing that comes into my head is the reason why I don't think I'm good enough and I don't deserve the financial success is because I look around me and I see other people, other women in my case, my age, who are really successful, look like they've really got everything together, look really slick, like there's no problems, like they're doing it effortlessly. And I'm thinking, I'm comparing myself and I'm thinking, I'm just like a disaster zone. I
hope you caught that. You see, she went into CCJ, criticizing, comparing, and being judgmental.
Like I'm trying to be all kind of on the surface level, present success, say all the right things, do all the right things, but deep down, I'm like the duck on the serene lake that's paddling like crazy underneath.
We've called these series, these 20-odd videos, we've done life lessons. So there's the life lesson. Now you have to speak to that part of your mind, to yourself, about the value of comparing. Why do you compare? What do you think the value is? What's the benefit for you? What does it bring you? And this is the life lesson, because on the role play that Alex just did, very quickly, you see, it only took us 3 whys, and we got down. Well, I'm looking at other people. They are more successful than me, so I'm not going to even try.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it's giving me more thoughts of like, well, maybe it's not meant to be for me because for me it feels like really hard work.
Stop.
So I'm now going back up to the top level. My inner child wants to take us back up to the feelings. And what you're saying is, David, let's stick down with the thoughts and the beliefs so we can learn the life lesson, so we can teach the inner child a life lesson, not go back up to the top level feelings.
So I know it's hard to role play, and you're doing great. But she did great then. And you see, when you start to talk to the child, you see what she had to do. I feel. And she wants to take you back to your feelings. So remember, ban the F word. When you're doing this work, ban the F word. Stop saying I feel. I think, I choose, I believe. I think, I choose, I believe. So when that part of your mind wants to say I feel, go, whoa, stop it. And you know you all laugh when I say stop it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go right back to the beginning again, and this is what gets confused.
Yeah.
Okay, stop. Don't I feel. I think, I choose, I believe. And then I can ask when we get, if I was doing this with a client, I'd be asking, okay, so why do you choose to compare? Now you see, immediately that's different.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, I'm not choosing to compare. Well, I'm sorry, you are.
Yeah. And also you don't know what's going on in that other person's life. They're just presenting a surface image.
And they're probably
blah, blah,
the same
blah.
swan.
Yeah.
They're probably looking at them and think, whoa, look how they're doing. And
you're both, everyone's just kidding everyone else. Yeah.
And their overdraft or their credit card is maxed out more than yours ever would be. And this is what you find. And this is why CCJ doesn't work. But on the example that Alex has just showed us, it's no good telling the child, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You've got to find what he's doing, and then you've got to take it apart.
And explain
Here's
to the
life
child.
lesson, emotional education. You've got to sit with it, speak to the child. It might take a couple of days to work through the benefits or non-benefits of comparing. In Alex's case, why do you compare? What do you hope to gain? Why do you think that's better for you? How can you compare? How do you know what's going on in their life? And so slowly you're emotionally educating yourself to come out of it. And then if you do that work within a very short time, maybe 1 session with yourself, 2 sessions with yourself, all of that scaffold of lies and illusions just crumble away because it doesn't make sense. You don't know what's going on in their life. And guess what happens? Remember I said it was the law of attraction? Guess what happens when you're looking at them? The law of attraction changes. You're now not thinking about you, you're thinking about them. Your law of attraction is not going to come from them. Your money, whatever energy you're talking about, is not going to come from them. You're disconnecting. I always think about it. Came to me in a meditation once. It's like having a socket and looking around for somewhere to plug it into. And you're trying to plug it into other people and other things to get your power. Instead of plugging it into yourself. You are the powerhouse. You are awesome. Everything that you want, you can achieve. There is no doubt about it. No, it won't be a straight line. You won't get it on the time that you want it, exactly how you want it, when you want it. This is Wu Wei. It's flowing. But you can do it with ease and grace, and you can do it with love, and you can do it with sincerity, and you can do it authentically, and you can do it at your pace, what's right for you, setting and meeting targets. When you go to these expensive coaches, all they do is set goals and you meet goals. You can do that for yourself. Set a little goal, meet the goal. Start then to get the momentum going in the right way and attract the energy.
But you need to have done this deeper core work with your inner child. Otherwise, any kind of coaching methods just don't work. I wanted to say...
Well, they do work, but they don't last.
Yeah, they're not as powerful, to be honest, because once you've dealt with these faulty beliefs properly once and for all, it's like opening the floodgates to attracting what you want in your life.
Yeah.
It's not just like a tiny trickle. You will notice the difference immediately. I wanted to say, David, on the we use the idea of I'm not deserving. So for people, a lot of people are carrying beliefs about money and abundance and success from their childhood that have been given to them by their parents. So like money is a bad thing, it's showing off,
It'll be taken away from you.
And so when you question the inner child, because the inner child probably often is rehearse some of these arguments, it's heard it first from the parents, and then as you've grown older, it's looked for evidence to scaffold up those faulty beliefs. So when you first question it, the inner child will take you on the kind of merry circuit of the reasons why money is a bad thing, why money will corrupt you, money is going to create problems. It's already gathered a bit of evidence, so don't be almost like intimidated by saying, oh yeah, you're right.
Well, it'll give you a self-fulfilling prophecy. It will say, oh, remember when we did that, and then proves
or
it.
See what happened to that person who was successful and then they went bust or
they lost
went to jail or whatever. So it's almost ignoring these excuses and reinforcements of the lies, and then digging down and almost questioning, well, what your parents taught you, is that right? Is everyone who's got more money evil? We've never done that. We never do that, do we?
But it's even easier than that, though. It's just questioning, being interested, listening. We're not saying your parents are wrong. We're not saying your parents were right. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even have to get that complicated. Just look at the teaching that your parents gave you and question it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And if you believe it's right, then you should be able to say on the golden thread, I believe money is bad because. And you give me the reason because it's your reason. So it's even just questioning, not in a negative way. We're not trying to undermine your parents. We're saying that was their belief. Do you want to accept that belief? And that's the key. That was their belief. Do you want to accept? I don't put money in tins. That was my nan's belief.
Yeah.
But I do budget, and I think budgeting's good. So I've just tweaked it a little bit. And that's the key. That's what I was just trying to say. You don't have to kick it out altogether.
It's not all or nothing.
It's not all or nothing.
But you need to own your own authentic, you have to come to your own authentic decisions about how you want to deal with money. Don't allow other people's beliefs, which often are very faulty, or maybe they're authentic to them, but they're not authentic to you. So you don't want to let their beliefs drive your life, basically.
And that's the key. And that's what I always find when I'm working with the clients. They believe that when we get down to the core beliefs, it's going to be a dramatic change. And normally it's just little tweaks, just tweaking it up. So it's your belief system. It's not your parents' belief system or your teacher's belief system or as a result of what happened to you 30 years ago. It's what is fit for purpose now that's guiding your life journey, a belief system that you can be proud of. And that is so important. And the way to get over this, as I mentioned before at the beginning, I try and say to all of my clients, when we sort out all that we've been talking about, and I want to finish this video on a positive, when we've done all of this and sorted all of this out, is live in your passion. Do something that you are absolutely passionate about. Now, I'm not saying, again, the extreme, you go in and hand in your job and if you love cooking, you start your own cookery school, but you can start doing things at home at the weekend and start to build up something that you're passionate about, whether it's, painting, drawing, craft work, writing a book. Start doing something that you really, really love for you. Now this starts to attract the law of attraction. Now this starts to bring the attraction in, and you start to get really good at what you're good at.
Yeah. So is what you're saying that, David, that if you are passionate about, say, your career or whatever it is you're doing to try and earn money or abundance or success, if you're authentically passionate about that as a subject, then that almost like supercharges your ability to succeed, to earn money from it. If you're not passionate about it and you're just doing it almost like as a slog to earn money, then you've got that inattention because you've lost the authenticity there.
That's absolutely. And that's why it's a tweak, because you can't just give up your job.
Yeah.
You've got
you can't just say, oh, I'm going to become an artist and become well famous.
But you can start to do the things that you're passionate about. And then a wonderful thing happens. And I can't tell you this is going to happen in 1 week or 1 month or even 1 year. But when you just use artwork, you start doing at the weekend or at nights or on your holidays, you start doing your artistic creation. And then you're on another journey. And then pretty soon you start to come up with different ideas. Well, I could paint this. I could do this. Oh, this is what. And you start to have all of these ideas because now the law of attraction is working for you rather than going against you. And then that tweak then starts to grow and grow and grow. And I can tell you, I've been doing this for 40 years. So many of my clients have gone on this journey and eventually they've been able to start their own career or go and work in an industry that they really like. I'm thinking about one lady who was drawing and painting, and she started to paint these objects, and she started a little stall on a Saturday market, and then it grew, and then she went into shops, and now she's got her own range of pottery. It's amazing. She's got potters in England, in Stoke-on-Trent, making her pottery, and she's selling it. This is the truth, into Harrods. Well, you know what I'm talking about. She started virtually in her garden shed 12 years, no, not even that long, 10 years ago, and now she's selling in Harrods. Just doing that process, starting small, loving it, really enjoying it, coming up with new ideas, tweaking, moving, flowing. And the key is to do what you love, to do what you're passionate about. And this is why we started off this video. Money is an energy. You have to attract it. It moves to what you love doing. It's attracted by you. You are awesome. Start beginning to do awesome things. Even if it's for half an hour at night when the kids have gone to bed. Do some awesome things. Do some things that you love, that you're really passionate about, that really winds you up. And that's what you should be doing.
Great. So, David, I just want to ask another thing about this equation. So if we are in our creative flow, doing something in our life, whether it's part of our career or separate for our career, but we're finding that creative, authentic flow in our life, and we've dealt with some of the inner child issues, the money mindset blocks, and so we're welcoming in abundance and money into our life with the law of attraction. So it's coming in. But what happens then if we're too grasping, if we're too worried about holding on to money? It's almost like, because my understanding of energy flow is it needs to flow into you and then flow out of you. And then that's the kind of cycle of energy.
Absolutely.
So can we create a problem by holding on, by grasping, by not wanting to let go of money, by being too tight or worried about losing money?
Well, we're back to the pendulum.
Yeah.
So all you've done now is you've swung from one side to the other. So what you're holding on to money for what reason? That money should be where? You should be reinvesting it. You should be putting it into your new business. You should be investing in that allows the money to grow, because it's an energy. And that's why if you change your view of it as an energy, what would you want to do with that energy of money? It's no good tucking it under your bed.
Yeah, because you're fearful that something bad's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So it's almost, again, taking financial responsibility for what we do have and authentically investing it. So it's almost like using the money like the energetic seeds to plant them so they flourish and grow into something else. So the money is then transforming into something else positive for you, your family, for other people.
And there's lots of, we can't be specific. We're not trying to sell you nothing, but look at all the kind of investments and ways you can use money, and again, things that you're really interested in
and that
doing.
resonate with you.
And give you a passion. So if you are in the position that you've got money and you want to invest it, start thinking about things that you really love and you want to invest in. So many examples come into my head. I was working many years ago with a carpenter, and then he started to buy and sell houses. So he used his skill in buying old houses and doing them up and reselling them, and that's his business now, and that's what he does. And that flow of money, and he's so happy because he's giving people homes, and the homes, he takes so much care in these homes. My goodness, they're so well built and well maintained, and he's got that energy moving. So it doesn't matter what field it's in, as long as it's the field that you're passionate about. And that's the key for the law of attraction. Don't have this contradiction that we talked about at the beginning. Stop that negative talk. This is what's stopping it. You are stopping it. That's what you've got to stop. You've got to take a breath. You've got to really do the work and speak to that part of your mind, because that part of the mind needs help. It needs emotional education. It needs to be, the Chinese call it like a lotus blossom opening. It needs to open up and embrace, because we live in an abundance. And if we open up, we can attract that abundance into our lives in many ways.
Brilliant. Thank you, David. Well, I hope this video has been helpful for you and that you've got some useful takeaways. Do comment below if you've got any questions, or tell us what was the biggest lesson for you in this video and what you're going to implement this week. Today. If you'd like to work one-to-one with David, he works with clients all over the world by video call on just these sort of issues. And I will put a link to David's sessions in the video description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we produce new videos every week. And we'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye-bye.